Welcome to Sports Connection. I'm Darrin Joins, Williamson County Schools Athletic Director. I'm here with Mr. Tate Mathews. Tate, we had a little taste of region play last week. This week, more region games coming up in football.
Yep. Well, week 3 is in the books, starting to get a little bit clearer picture, as we usually do, and there'll be a real clear picture after week 4. So you're right. Some big ones this week, and excited to talk about them. Let's
just jump right into football. Again, week 3 results. We're heading into week 4 this week. We're going to start with the WCTV game of the week. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Page defense throws another shutout at Franklin, 14-0, and what ended up a pretty darn good game.
Yes.
Franklin, I thought, did a great job hanging in there against a great opponent, maybe the best defense they'll play all year, and they do it with Williamson out of the game, which is tough.
It's tough. He's been the starter. This is now his 3rd year as the starter. So, I think a lot of people would have said you give Franklin a 14-0 game. They would take that, considering their starting quarterback is out. Yeah, man, that's big. I thought they played really, really well. Defense played well on the Admiral side. So, even though it's looked a little different, Page has been putting up some big points. So, they played well. I know that's not what they were in it for, but they did play well with Brewer out, and I think King and Thompson played quarterback right, and they played well, but that's just not what they've been building towards. So I think a 14-0 victory there would be something to be rest your hat on. The defense played lights out. Both defenses played lights out.
Rushing touchdowns from Page. They get one in the first quarter, Mitchell Grangine, and in the fourth quarter, William Weebush. Right. So they're scoring with guys who are both playing some QB. That drive that was into the third, beginning of the fourth, was the backbreaker. 18-play, 91-yard drive. They go up 14-0 with 7:46 left in the game. And when you're down 2 scores to Page, that feels like probably 4 scores against most people.
It's over. And the Grangine touchdown, he's been playing a lot of tailback.
Absolutely.
So that I believe his touchdown came from the running back position, but then he's playing some quarterback as well. So you're right. Hey, anytime, I don't care who it's against, what it is, 18-play, 91-yard drive, that's something to talk about and build on. That's hard to do, man. That's impressive. I'm talking about just breaking the will. Not that they gave up, they don't, but I mean that's tough to recover from, especially the way the game was going, and then they go and do that, it's over.
Now, and I mean this as a compliment. To me, this is shades of the Titans with Jeff Fisher.
Yes.
We're going to punt when we're supposed to, do what we're supposed to on offense. Maybe it's not real flashy. The defense is going to be tough.
It wasn't shades of the Titans this past Sunday.
It's a tough weekend for Kentucky. Jeez. Kentucky graduates, UK, it was tough. Let's talk.
I'm not even firing on him, man, but you're up 17-0 and jeez.
You think that punter didn't have like some kind of unbelievable flashback to, because he got hurt last year at the end. Man, that's rough. Let's get back to Page, though, their defense. Yeah. And speaking of their defense, let's check out the WCTV play of the week.
So King in the empty set, got 4 wide. Wills Jackson once again going to try it. Picked off by Knight Wilson, his 2nd of the night. So we'll see.
Watch Hazard right here just lay the wood to Thompson King, and Wilson on the interception.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the interception. Good night. The party's over. Wilson. What an athletic play. He tracks it. Maybe a little bit overthrown. Maybe he was baiting him. I don't know. But he goes over. He gets the interception. It looked a lot like Thompson's interception week 1 against Centennial. It was very similar. But great job tracking the ball, being in the position where he's supposed to be, going over there and getting it. It was awesome. And like we said, he stood up and said, good night. Patriots signing off. It was great. But everybody saw it. Our good buddy Paul Brees acknowledged it on the call. Man, what a hit by our man Eric Hazard there and don't think the quarterback didn't see him coming. That's another thing too. He stood in there and knew he was going to get popped, still threw it. But Great play, I think, altering that throw by Mr. Hazard.
He's tough.
L's up, Eric. L's up.
I'm not doing that, but I'm pulling for Eric.
There you go. I know. I don't think there's anything that can get you to do that.
Nothing. Maybe an NIL deal.
What if they hired Rich Brooks as their next football coach?
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
I love that guy. Great follow on Twitter, by the way, or on
X.
Yes. Let's talk. So, Paige, 14-0. Again, like you said, nothing for Franklin to be ashamed of. Hey, first region game. I'm looking forward, Coach Adkins, to those picks coming up.
No doubt.
Franklin
Paige, 3 weeks, 3 shutouts.
73-0.
73-0.
And they play Laverne this week. So, unless they just want Laverne to score, it's going to be 4 in a row.
This could break. Is it at Paige?
Laverne.
Okay, because that might break that digital board they've got out there. I don't know that even that can. It'll be
Start
short circuit.
tilting. Hey, another WCS matchup that was a good one. Centennial 20, hosting Independence 13. The Cougars, Tate, are now 2-1 in Region 6 6A play.
They are.
You think about that. First 3 games, all against a larger classification. They were just a play away from being 3-0.
Yes.
So I'll give Coach Mall credit. After that first week, I was going,
They've righted the ship.
well, not that I thought they were going to, go on a 10-game losing streak, but certainly after that one, I'm like, this might not bode well the next couple of weeks, but they bounce right back. A really impressive win over Summit, and then do it again against Independence. So going into region play, Centennial looking pretty darn good.
They are. And remember, that one loss was in overtime on a fire call. So, they're that close to being 3-0, but and he was pretty angry after that game. Should have been. He didn't think his team played very well. And I think they kind of made the decision they were going to make sure to get that running game fixed. Boy, they've done it the last 2 weeks. Carlos Vigil, 24 carries, 126 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Drayton, 13 carries, 108 yards and a touchdown. He will tell you the offensive line really, really played well, kind of imposed their will on him. And then Kenai Johnson had a rushing touchdown as well. But
3 different guys.
3 different guys. Offensive line, covering them all. Coach Southall's doing a great job coaching that offensive line. I know Coach Stewart has a lot to do with it. But what they have not fixed, and they better get fixed, penalties. Too many penalties again Friday night.
Well, to me, that's something that's fixable.
It is fixable. But it's got.
Ravenwood last year had problems with that.
They did last
Yep.
week 3 too.
Coughing up the ball a little bit, and then also the penalties, but they'll get it fixed. Independence, a bright spot I thought. Matthew Horner, the quarterback, had over 100 yards of total offense. I mean, they didn't have much offense, but he got most of it. So the sophomore, getting that experience. He's only getting better every game. Calvin Wall led the team with 51 yards of rushing, and Independence their first touchdown of the season in Game 3. I thought, honestly, Independence, even though they want to win that game, I thought there were some positives coming out of that for them.
Oh, they're
I really did.
Yeah, there were. And Coach Stidham will tell you that too, but yes. And the other thing too, they were in this one, right? The first 2 they weren't. So this is something that they can build off of, and same as all of them. They're not looking to have 7-point losses or 14-point losses. But you're right. There were a lot of positives that they got better on. It's week 3. They're so young. The quarterback's going to be a good quarterback.
He is. He really is.
I don't know if he's still riding his bike yet or not, but
Hey,
probably is.
these next 2 that we're going to go over, both surprises, not who won,
Right.
but the margin of victory. I would have said the opposite. Ravenwood squeaks by Blackman 14-7. Brentwood totally dominates Hendersonville 56-14. I thought they both would win, but if I knew that was the scores, I would have reversed it.
I would have too.
So give Blackman credit for hanging in there with Ravenwood. Again, we love Coach Kreisky, not as much as we used to,
Right.
but we still love him. And then Brentwood, man, 56 points. We talked about, is their offense good enough? Gavin Nelson said, I'll take 4 touchdowns.
4, please.
I'll have 3 rushing. I'll have one receiving if you don't mind. And then Zach Maples said, I'll take a 60-yard rushing TD. And then on defense, man, they played well on defense. Really sort of dominated the Commandos on both sides of the ball.
Both sides of the ball. And don't forget about our good friend Clayton Merrill. He took a 99-yard kickoff return
99.
for a touchdown. I'll have one of those.
I like Merrill.
Merrill.
I like Merrill.
You can put him all over the – you got to know where he is.
He's a pretty fun young man, too. Out at Media Day, he's got a little
He's funny.
personality to him. He's fun.
He always has been. He's a good one. He was a really good baseball player.
He's tough, too.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails. William Stockoff on the defensive side. He had an interception. He had a sack. He had a tackle for a loss. And that defense, again, we thought Brentwood would win. But I was thinking 7, maybe 10 points.
Yeah. I think they've
42 points.
42 points. I think they've taken the biggest jumps.
They have.
Yeah.
You got to give them credit. You know, a few weeks ago, I would have said second place is getting a little cloudy in 6A. I don't think it's as cloudy now. I think it's Brentwood second. Right now. It can always change.
Well, hey, they beat Blackman worse than Ravenwood did. I mean, yeah,
if you're comparing scores.
Yeah, but you know,
it's something.
It's something.
It
happened.
It ain't nothing.
But Ravenwood, 4 touchdowns called back.
Yeah, not good.
1, 2, 3, 4. So that game looks totally different if that doesn't happen.
Home opener, maybe they're a little
they had more
amped up and excited, and
or maybe it was a different crew.
Maybe.
They had more, Ravenwood had more penalties in week 3 than they did week 1 and 2 combined.
Not good.
Not good.
Quarterbacks, Maverick Chance, Femi Babalola, 143 yards for Femi, 81 for Maverick. I like the 2 QB
touchdown
system.
for Femi as well.
Yep, touchdown for both.
That's right.
So nice job of them, again, taking care of business when they had to. Matt Anderson led the way with 5
Matt Anderson.
tackles. He had 1 tackle for a loss. I think with Ravenwood too, admit it or not, that game in week 1, geared up, ready to play, go out and dominate in week 2. I'm not saying they had a letdown, but you know, they probably got some confidence rolling right now. Maybe it's good you can go, hold on, fellas. We're getting stuff called back. Let's tighten some of that up. Let me get your attention again. I know you just blew out Cane Ridge, but let me get your attention a little bit. Yeah. Got Smyrna this week. 3rd time they've played them in the last year, including the playoffs last year.
Correct.
So they'll listen. We're feeling sorry for Ravenwood 3-0.
No, but we got to get it fixed.
We'll get it fixed. Nolensville. This is one now. I believe I said double digits, and you're like, yeah, maybe not. 38-0.
That is
over a much improved McGavock team.
That's Boat Race City.
They're much improved. 14-0 after a quarter. They never looked back. And how about that offensive stat? 406 yards for Nolensville. Only 166 from McGavock. We say it every week when you're talking defense and you're talking about coaching your defense. Is anybody any better than Paul Derrick?
I'd take him.
He's the
That's
dude,
who I'm
man.
riding with.
We got Coach Webb. We got the defensive page. Very defensive-minded teams and performances so far for our football teams, and none better than Nolensville.
No, and McGavock's been putting up some points. They've had some nice wins, so that was a big win. You're right. You called it. I thought they would win. I didn't think they'd win 38-0. Total domination and 406 yards. That reminds us of a couple years ago when they had 5 Power 5 guys coming out on offense. So really nice. The quarterback played well again. Jack Deaver played really well again. 20 for 25, 244 yards.
That's a great stat line.
It's a great stat line. 2 touchdowns. Hit Smotherman and Bender. Those guys are kind of been his 2 favorite tackles. So, targets. He's been playing really, really well. So, like to see the offense coming back around, and 38-0. That'll build confidence for sure.
Rushing touchdowns from Rowan Ambrose, Carson Kelly, Ryan Newell. Kelly leads them in tackling also with 7. I thought this was cool. 5 touchdowns, 2 receiving, 3 rushing, 5 different guys.
Balance.
I like Nolensville, like Brentwood. I think they've shown some tremendous improvement. The game I've got circled on the calendar, Nolensville Centennial.
Ooh. Because that's for number 2.
And listen, you guys
Should be.
put it on the boards, whatever you guys do. Paige is winning. I mean,
Are the T-shirts already
they're
printed?
they're just so good.
They are good.
Nothing against no one's on Centennial. I just think they're just going to be too hard to beat. Fairview, 35-0 win versus Stewart County. First region game of the year. 1-0 obviously in region play. Our man, Mr. Murray, had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 5 tackles on defense, 2 for a loss. John Barrick at quarterback. Here's some efficiency for you. He's 4 for 5, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good night for the sophomore.
Sophomore, playing lights out, been thrust into the starting position since week 1, and he played well last week too. So he's stepped in there, really doing a great job at quarterback. That's not easy to do, big shoes to fill. He's done a great job. Trayvon had, I think those 2 touchdowns were on like 4 carries, maybe 5 carries.
Didn't have many.
This was in basically a half of football. So think about what it would have been. It would have been a running clock, but still, the weather got to him. Didn't get to finish it up. Didn't get to get those young pups in. But hey, we don't care on this show, but it matters. East Hickman, they're 3-0 right now. So I think it was 41-35 loss to East Hickman in week 1. They've now turned around and won the next 2. What I'm saying is, even though it's not as fun to laugh about, East Hickman's a lot better than what. Maybe you're not buying this. I'm saying the one loss Fairview has is to a pretty good East Hickman team. And they lost their quarterback in that game.
True. Summit. Now, listen, I thought this was a decent result. Now, again, we don't ever take the moral victories, but they were down 6-0 at the half, playing pretty well. And this was like a monsoon out there at Green Hill. People had to go to the food court, get out of the rain a little bit. It's scoreless until midway.
Buck seat, is the Buck seat still
Box,
there?
Joe-
Crow's nest.
Crow's nest, yes. So it rained throughout the game. It's only 6-0 at the half, and I believe they went up 13-0 pretty late in the third. So Summit, especially defensively, hung in there. Just not enough. Green Hill's now 3-0. Mason McElhaney led the team, per usual. 84 passing yards, 31 rushing. Luke Oliver had 70 receiving yards. I didn't think, when you're talking about the injuries, when you're talking about going on the road, when you're talking about they had been dominated by Centennial, I thought they bounced back pretty nicely.
Yeah, they did. It's tough. They haven't been able to get a whole lot of offense going the last couple of weeks, right? But when you're, and the offensive line is decimated with injuries, but still got to find a way, right? So.
And this week, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. They got one more week to get a little healthier.
Right. Which is, I think at this point, is what you got to do, and probably what they are doing. But yeah, the monsoon didn't help, but I thought maybe it would play into Summit's
Yeah, I think it did help.
hand a little bit. I mean, as far as scoring points,
No.
but they just got to figure it out. They've got some weapons, but they've got to band-aid that offensive line together until they can get some of them back. Who knows? I don't know when they can, because he'll be the first to tell you can't win if you got 0 on your side of the scoreboard.
It's pretty interesting to me, and I know this gets talked about a lot, but regardless of the level of play, it's about the lines of scrimmage.
Just
the
is.
offensive and defensive line of scrimmage. Whoever wins that tends to win games. And the people who don't have the dominant personnel, they find a way to survive. Line of scrimmage game, and like you said, offensive lines.
Well, go back to when Summit was going to the Blue Cross Bowl and winning one of them. You had 2 of the best players you're ever going to have. They're probably ever going to play there. But the story was the year they won it, they had 5 senior offensive linemen that were guys that would get after you and played for 3 years. So
it is what it is.
It matters.
Tate, before we talk about pick'ems, let's jump into some other sports. In volleyball, Nolensville. What a great week for Coach Young in Nolensville.
Big week.
They beat Summit in a league game 3-0. They beat Franklin, barn burner, 3-2. They beat Page 3-0. They're now 5-0 in district play. Going back to that Summit matchup, Kyra Knox had 12 kills, 7 digs, 2 blocks. And then Avery Etheridge with 20 assists. Sadie Deming had 14 assists. Franklin, again, pretty good showing there against Nowensville. They also last week defeat Centennial 3-0. And then in the Battle of the Woods, matchup number 1, Brentwood over Ravenwood 3-2. They win the last 2 sets, 25-11, 15-9. I like what Coach Rucker's doing
I do too.
at Brentwood.
Yeah.
She got a little something about her I like. I like the team. I like her.
I do too.
I like how she's doing it.
I think we're heading on a crash course of Nowensville, Brentwood, which we said. But is it time to start talking about Franklin? We know how much better they've gotten. And then, like you said, they go and have a barn burner 3-2 with Franklin. Is it time to start putting them in this conversation?
It is, but I would say this. Until you do it, you haven't done it. and it's weird how that happens. Like if you haven't been winning, like last year they got a good seed, they were playing at home, they lose in the semis of the district. There's something about that 5th set with Nowensville. There's just, you got to do it. And sometimes you just got to, it's not much you can say as a coach. You got to win one of those.
Figure it out.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, we've got some experience of winning one of those. You just got to do it. So we'll see. Yes, they're in the conversation, but until we knock off Nowensville and Brentwood, it's still those 2, I think.
Gotcha.
But I think Franklin's obviously got a shot. Fairview, we keep talking about Fairview. 3-0 win over East Hickman last week. Again, nice job so far by Fairview. Let's talk a little soccer. Now, here's one I wanted to mention to you in soccer. I want to get this one in. It's just a Fairview update. They're 6-1. They get wins over Kirkwood and Montgomery Central, but I couldn't wait to say this. She's now part of our all-name team.
No doubt.
Scout Akins with the winning goal over Kirkwood. That is a fantastic.
She's on the all-name team.
Scout Akins. Man, it's good.
I love it.
That's really good. Hey, Tate, let's talk a little golf. Brentwood defeated, and listen, this is a little bit of a surprise. Brentwood Franklin boys, they're tied, and they go into a playoff, which I'll describe here in just a second. Brentwood ends up winning. Brentwood also wins on the girls' side. Listen to these Brentwood scores. Jack Doyle, Trip Goodrich, George Lascaris. It's another good name. All 1 over par for a 36. On the boys' side for Franklin, again, 1 over par, Will Penson, Charlie Drescher, J.D. Kataspati also shot a 36. Girls' side, Avon Calvert had the low score for Brentwood. Now, let's talk about how the playoff worked. It's this week's Tate. Jim. Okay, here's what they do. And we can do kind of whatever. We can play another hole and do whatever. What they did, they took the top 5 guys and they all played the first hole. Who's got the better score? Brentwood's -2, 2 under. Franklin was +2. Brentwood wins the match. That's a cool way to do it.
I love it.
Now, I wasn't there, but I'm sure it was that people were surrounding the.
Had to have been, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
Very
that
cool.
was played out at the Legends Club, too.
It was.
I think so, yeah.
Hey, 36 on that course.
Oh, man. And we're talking 6 different guys.
Yeah. That's some top-notch golf, man.
I mean, our golfing is.
You still got Paige winning it?
Well, I'm kind of.
It's early.
It's early. I like the Page boys and girls. I'm wavering a little. I definitely like the Page girls winning it.
I do too.
But you said Brentwood boys, and they've got a little something about them. Coach Saunders and the crew, they got a little swag to them.
They're the defending state champs.
Yeah, they ought to have it. Let's talk some cross country, Tate. We hadn't really been talking cross country much, but the Voiles Classic out at Herman's. I don't know how long that's been going on, but it's a regular kind of event. Here's what I thought was interesting. If you take a look, I want to educate our viewers out there and our listeners if you're listening to us on a podcast. The top teams, so they take your top 5 scores to give you a team score. So you want low numbers, Tate Mathews.
Correct.
On the girls' teams, there were 25 AAA teams. We finished first with Brentwood, second Page, third Nowensville, fourth Independence. On the boys' side, get this, 28 teams, Brentwood first, Ravenwood second, Nowensville third, Independence fourth, Franklin fifth, Summit sixth, Page seventh. I mean, are we going to let anybody else play?
So Centennial and Fairview just weren't there, I'm guessing?
Well, Fairview was 6th in the AA event.
Okay.
And on the girls' side, they were 5th in the AA event. But look, Tate, I want you to look here. Take a look at first and second on the boys and girls side. Look at the difference. Brentwood gets 36 points. Look what second place had.
Well, on the girls, 116. No, that's not a typo. And on the boys' side, 110. So, but read off those place finishes, or would you like for me to do it for Brentwood's team?
You go ahead. Girls' side, they finished
First.
No, that was team.
Oh, second, third, fourth, 10th, 17th.
So their worst finish was 17th.
Banovac, Cromwell, and Banovac were third, fourth, and fifth.
It's unbelievable. And third, fourth, and fifth was overall, all classes, but the second, third, and fourth, if you're talking about in the AAA side.
And then on the boys' side, second, third, 8th, 11th, 12th.
I started looking at some other scores, and the fifth scores were like 57th, 74th. So in other words, not worst is not accurate, but the lowest score on your team, the worst score. Your girls' fifth place finishes 17th, and your boy finishes 12th. They're going to win both.
They're going to win both. It's going to be awesome, too.
It's unbelievable.
On the boys' side, first place, second place, third place, fourth place, and fifth place individually.
Asher Oates, Independence, Wilco finalist twice now, with another great finish. Callahan Fielder, Keller Vaughn, second and third from Brentwood. Logan Humphreys from Nolensville, and then Nilson Hurst from Franklin. Tate, let's talk a little pick'ems.
Everybody did well last week.
It was a great, I don't know if this is the first time, but all four of us, we're talking about the fans, Dr. Qualls, the two of us, all 7-0. So now the fans are 17-5.
Okay.
The rest of us are 18-4. We've got a three-way tie for first going into week 4. This may be the tightest it's ever been at this point. And by the way, fans, keep going to WCSCO Athletics on X so you can keep participating. Coach Atkins said
he likes the X.
He likes it. We're fans of Coach Atkins for a lot of reasons, but one is because he's a fan of the show.
Big fan of the show.
We
great
appreciate
energy, great sunglasses, great shoes. He just gets it, man. He gets it.
Yeah, it's fun. All right, so let's talk about this. I'm going to pick first this week.
Okay.
I'm maybe trying to.
I hope you think this is tough.
I don't.
Okay.
Well, relatively tough. Brentwood 2, and I feel like you're trying to trick me.
No.
Brentwood 2.
I'm just telling you, there's no worse place to go play than Henry County. That you want to talk about home cooking. Those guys don't even try to play it off.
Well, let's talk about this. So Brentwood's 2-1, going into Henry County 2-1. The Henry wins Brighton and Springfield, and they lost 34-12 to Riverdale. Good team, but they lost 34-12. Brentwood's won 3 straight. This is the 4th year in a row they've played. They've won by 7. They won by 3. They won by 2. Here's the difference. That's a total of 12 points. This year's deficit will be more than those 3 years added up. I think Brentwood wins rather comfortably.
That was very good information, and you're right. I'm not real impressed with the wins over Brighton and or Springfield. Now, the weather played a factor, but they gave up 34 points to the Riverdale Warriors. Do you know how many they gave up to the Beach Buccaneers? I mean, how many they scored to the Beach Buccaneers last week?
Who? Riverdale?
Riverdale.
0.
0. Goose egg. I'm with you. I think the Brew win. I think it's double digits.
So you were trying to trick me.
Well, I was just making sure you knew. But I do think there's going to be some they're going to have to, there's going to be some things they're going to have to overcome. They're not going to make it easy.
Where do they need to eat, Tate, for the pregame or postgame meal?
Well, there's Tony's Steakhouse. It's good. Tony's Steakhouse and Pizza Inn. They have it's so good. They have a fix-it-yourself salad bar.
Oh, that's nice.
It does not disappoint.
That's nice.
Or you can go right down the road, man. Really nice place. I think, man, check it out. It's in the sawmill, the old sawmill.
You're not talking about Patty's, are you?
And no. And they've got a restaurant in Martin right down the road. Real nice. Looks like something you'd find out in Berry Hills. Real nice, Clark. So if you want to, when in Rome, do as Romans do, go to Tony's. If you want to feel a little bit more at home, go down the road to Martin, go to that. I can't remember the first name of it, but it's at the old sawmill. Fantastic. The smoked turkey was John Wild approved.
So we both have Brentwood comfortably.
Brentwood, the Brew wins.
All right, your pick. Centennial, 2-1 versus the school formerly known as Hillwood, James Lawson. They're also 2-1. It's the first region game for both. Let's check out the Lawson wins and losses.
Okay.
So they get wins over Cheatham County and Stratford, and they lose to Sycamore.
Yes.
So based on that, Tate, I got a feeling I know what your pick is. Coach Stewart going home, so to speak, back to Metro. He likes to go over there and put his feathers up a little
Thump
bit.
his chest a little bit.
Yeah, saying,
I'm still the
I'm the dude.
I'm the cock of the walk, boys and girls. Hey, big fan of Brian Lilly, the coach of the school formerly known as Hillwood, now the Lightning. Big fan of his. Wins over Cheatham County and Stratford. That's where he's building a program, so I'm not going to knock that. But that's where Centennial and what you're talking about, iron sharpens iron. Man, look at who Centennial's played first 3 weeks.
6-6-8.
And then we're talking Cheatham County. This ain't this ain't Tommy Tharp and Rick Butler.
I knew you were going to say somebody I'd never heard of, but
Marty
I couldn't wait.
Uverard's Cheatham County we're talking about here, and Stratford, although I'm a big fan of Stratford. Anyways, Centennial wins. They win convincingly. I hope this is the game we get the penalties taken care of. If they do, we could be talking Boat Race City.
So we both, I'm Centennial.
Yes.
Centennial easy. Fairview at Richland. This was a close game last year.
It was.
I think Richland only won 3 games. It was 29-28. I think Fairview duplicates that by getting another win. I do think it'll be a bigger margin than last year, only 1. I'm going with the Yellow Jackets.
Well, you're starting a sophomore quarterback, so he's only in his going into his 4th game. Only his 3rd as a starter. But I'm with you. I think Fairview gets the win over Richland. Now, there is a great place to eat in Linville, which is where Richland is. It's called the Soda Pop Junction.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry. They used to only take cash. They take cards now. The burgers are soaked in Dale sauce all day long. Pictures of Elvis up on the wall. What more can you want? Soda Pop Junction. It's small. Get there, it'll fill up fast.
Richland had wins over Cascade and Wayne County, and they lost to Lincoln County big.
Wayne County is a if we're talking girls basketball, I'm impressed with the Wayne County. We're talking football, not so much.
Not so much. All right, how about our WCTV game of the week? And Tate, I think this is a good one.
It is.
And it's your pick. To me, listen, I take Franklin, Independence, and Summit. I think you can kind of shuffle them up, see what comes out. Those matchups are the ones. This has serious playoff ramifications. The team that wins this game, Tate Mathews, and this one's at Independence, there's only 1 win between them. Doesn't matter. Now it's the region games.
That's right.
1-2 versus 0-3, but they're 0-0. Games at Independence, they're going to have a big ceremony before the game at halftime for the state tournament basketball championship team. I think it'll be some great energy out there. Because of that, I think it's a total toss-up.
I do too.
Who you going with?
I really wish I knew if the Franklin quarterback was going to be back, but we don't know. Just from what I've seen the first couple of weeks, I think Franklin's a little bit ahead, man. I think they're better athletically. I like the way that they're playing. I think they've got more confidence because of their Centennial win, and then also that, again, no moral victories, but that 14-0 loss to Page. So I think they got a little bit more firepower, and I think they're playing with more confidence. I'm going with the Admirals on the road.
Same. I thought you might pick Indy.
Just don't know that there's enough offense.
Listen, I can't. Franklin's going to run me out. Coach Atkins has been so nice, good to the program. But I'm saying it because I believe it. Franklin will win. If Wilson doesn't play, I think it's a really low-scoring game.
Yeah.
If he does play, I think they put a few points on the board. But I think the Indy offense is starting to crank up a little bit too. So I think it's a great game. But like you, I think Franklin wins. We can go a little quicker on these next couple. Nowensville at Glencliff. First region game for both.
Mr. Deaver is eating popcorn in the third quarter.
I did want to mention Glencliff had a great win. They're 1-2, but they had a great win over Republic, 41-6. I think they lost to
You know
Stratford.
who that is, don't you?
Yeah, I think they lost to Stratford by like 40. And again, no, they are what they are, but they're not good. Glencliffe's not good. None of them are good. Nolensville is going to completely dominate this game.
It's a boat race.
And they can't help it. It's a region game.
It's Popcorn City. Yeah. Why did they schedule that? Yeah,
They had to.
It's a region game.
How about when Page plays them?
Well, you just don't want to get anybody hurt.
Okay, so we both have Nolensville.
Nolensville, big.
Page at Laverne, 3-0 versus 0-3. The Laverne losses to West Creek, Siegel, and Wilson Central.
This is not Dirk Ash and Barry Wertman and Jeremy Moore and Don Thomas's. And you know who used to be the head coach of the Lavergne Wolverines, don't you? Will Hester.
That's right. He leaves that off his resume.
None of those guys are there. This is Popcorn City.
Yep, Page big.
Yep.
As many as they want, they get their fourth shutout.
Fourth shutout.
The only chance they don't is they have to sub so early
Yeah.
that the JVs score on each other.
But that clock's going to be running. So.
It'll be running.
Get to this will be a good chance to. Grandjean will play early at running back and get him some good work at quarterback as well.
Ravenwood goes to Smyrna. Ravenwood 3-0. Smyrna 1-2. Last year, Ravenwood won in this game, and then they also won in the second round of the playoffs. They're going for the trifecta. They totally dominate. They clean up the sloppy play. They win by 20 or more at Smyrna, Tate Mathews.
I think you're right. Much respect for Smyrna. Anytime they're around, I have a lot of respect for them. I think the hangover with the big Alcoa win, and then we didn't play everybody, and even those that played didn't get to play a lot against Cane Ridge. That was just too easy. I think that contributed a lot to the sloppy play last week. Not so much. I think they've gotten, I think, as you mentioned, their attention has been gotten, and this is a double-digit win over a quality Smyrna program.
So we both have Ravenwood. Our final pick, Summit 1-2 at Blackman 1-2. Blackman is 0-2 in Region 6 6A games. This was a great game last year. A hard-fought game that Blackman won, I believe, won late in the fourth quarter. Who you got in this one?
So when Kreisky, I didn't even really put that together, but when Kreisky was here, Centennial was in 6A, so
That's right. He had the same sketch.
not a whole lot of success against those two schools. So you go to Rutherford County, and oh, by the way, you get to play Brentwood and Ravenwood the first 2 of the first 3 weeks. So, man, a lot of orange and a lot of navy there. Actually, Brian Coleman was the head coach of Forest. When he left, he was replaced by a man by the name of Matt Kreisky. So these two know each other really, really well. I got to go with the Blackman Blaze.
I do too, and I'm telling you, there's 2 reasons. 1, they're on the road, and 2, they're banged up.
Banged up, man.
If they weren't, I think they get this week and last week. I really do.
I do too.
But they're let's get healthy, Summit. So we picked the same thing again.
Same thing again.
So you and I are going to be tied again, no matter what happens.
No matter what happens.
Tate is always.
Any of them maybe don't feel great about?
I feel good.
I do too.
Feel good about my picks. Tate, as always, great to see you.
You too. Go to a game this week, during the week. Volleyball, soccer, football. Get out to some games.
Thank you for joining us for Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.